My guest is already listening. So what do you say we just start the show?
The Tom Kelly Show.
See now.
I want you to go to the Tom Kelly Show.
I always judge what this conversation is going to be like by my guest's face as I do the intro.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, trigger warning, spoiler alert, do the damn dishes. You're listening to the Tom Kelly Show. I have a guest that I have talked about a week ago on this darn podcast. And I wanted to get her on this podcast as a guest, I would say arguably 48 minutes after meeting her for the first time. I go to a very rich gym. That's all you need to know. And I met a instructor there whose energy during the class was infectious. And I think there's something we could all learn from her. Kristin.
Hey.
I feel like now I said this before. I feel like you're the most nervous guest I ever had.
Oh my God.
Are you nervous?
I'm not nervous. I wish that I did get some stage fright off of things because I feel like that's healthy. Do you get that? Do you get stage fright?
Yes, every time. Every time. Yeah. Well, you know what it is? I get, and this is probably and I went through your bio. What, you were you were in the ballet for a while?
Oh my God. How did you dig that up? Yes, I was a ballerina.
You know what? This is the second time you have given me you're a stalker face. There's a thing called the internet.
I know. I'm aware of the internet.
Yeah, but you're not good at it because No, because like I knew we had two common friends. We don't have to necessarily drop the names because I don't know what your relationship is with them. And like, actually now I'll bleep this. So when I said Rob and I said that you were fans of, you like, how did you know that? And I'm like, because it's like the first thing that came up when I looked up your Instagram that you just promoted. And then before booking you on the show, I Googled you because I wanted to, because there's two types of life coaches. So you're a life coach now.
Right.
Who are you? What do you do?
So my name is Kristin Kenney, and I am a life coach. I specialize in working with highly successful people. Usually they're affluent, and I help them solve their biggest problems within 6 months. What's different about the work that I do is they have access to me 24/7. And I have to tell you, they use it. So all the time. They call, text. I don't do like these single sessions. I'll see you every Wednesday type deal. That's
therapy. Yeah. What's the difference between a life coach and a therapist?
Oh God. My mom loves to talk about this because my mom is actually a really gifted therapist. Therapy to me, I'm not knocking it. I think it's great. And I refer people out to it as needed. And there's so many different kinds of what we can call clinicians. It's more medical, but my experience with people in therapy is a lot of it is sitting inside an echo chamber of your own problems. And so I agree
with that. In fact, Dr. Cheryl and I talked about that last week am I making my problems worse just talking about my problems every week?
Yeah, I feel like you can perpetuate your problems. Well, I know you can, and I used to do that as well. What I'm providing is what I wanted when I was going through the toughest part of my life, to date. I wanted someone who was going to be with me all the time. I mean, you can only call your best friend so much, right? Yeah. And then they're going to be like, this pity party is over, like enough. All right. But I wanted somebody who would really provide solutions. And that's what I do. So I have a set of solutions that I apply and they work because they worked on me. They work on everyone.
By the way, if Dr. Cheryl is listening, you're fired. No. You don't laugh at my jokes, which is also going to be another sore point for our long-term.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. We just got, that was hilarious. Dr. Cheryl, I will be talking about this on Monday at 3:00. Now back to me. When you say problems, I help people with problems. What kind of problems does that mean?
So a lot of the issues are relationship issues, dating issues, financial issues, family issues, but I have to say the biggest one is always dating, romance. Okay.
How about this? So that way you're not outing any of your clients. I'll give you problems going on in my life, and you tell me if that's something that Kristin Kenney talks about. So I am having difficulty in my love life. Do I call, if I were one of your clients, do I call you with problems about trying to find the right girl? Or if I see somebody at a bar that I'm into, whatever, that's something I talk to Kristin Kenney, life coach, about?
You definitely do, but here's how it happens. Sad to say, but this is how it usually goes down for me. People usually come to me in tremendous crisis, not low level.
Okay.
Like I just can't find the one. People usually, like, I'll give you an actual scenario. Somebody called me from an airport who had just thrown up into the trash bin at the airport and said, I just broke up with my person, and I'm at the airport. I don't know where to go or what to do. That would be an actual scenario.
Wow.
And then what I did with that person is we worked on everything, because what I know is that we can't change situations. We can't control them. We can't cure people, but we can contribute to dysfunction. So what I did with this particular person was we looked at every area of his life, and within that set time frame, I didn't really do anything. I'm writing a book about this, and the person who's the agent for the book so far has told me not to say. I have nothing to do with it, but it's really this curriculum that I apply. And this person ended up making, he was already pretty affluent, but he ended up making so much more money, finding like a plethora of potential partners, and is partnered up right now. And like, but with my people, it's usually big problems. Yeah, I think they're big problems. I think it's a big problem if you don't know what you want to do in your career, or a huge problem if you keep hitting a wall with your relationships.
So I think that you just summed up the opening of the show. Is I have hit arguably a plateau and went down to a lower plateau of my career. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily, like, this has been a line that I stole from when I was working at Tamron Hall, was I don't want to necessarily go back to 2019. Mm-hmm. But I'm happy. I wouldn't mind 2020 and 2021 and even the first 3 months of 2022 to be over. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And I apply that to, and I keep hitting these Charlie Brown moments. And listen, I've also turned being Charlie Brown into a very lucrative career at certain points in my life. Yes. Where I ghostwrite for morning radio shows. And I have money. I can afford the brick wall behind me. And then at one point I was the opening act at a TV show, which is a very weird sort of spot where I'm ahead of so many people from my past, but you're behind the people you're opening for. So it kind of had this, it was like being a D student at Yale. I felt like, actually that's there you go. I got to write that one down. When I was doing warm-up work, I felt like the dumbest guy at Yale. And if you keep feeling like the dumbest guy, after a while, you start just thinking, I'm the dumbest guy. And I was probably going through a little bit of that. And then in the love life, I had my heart broken by somebody special and unique who was a unicorn of a human being. She was athletic. She had a caring heart. And she was a nerd, and I am looking for that exact person again, physically and emotionally. And I find, frankly, even from physical and emotional standpoints, I'd rather be single than date somebody who was not as special as that person. Now, there have been people in between who were not to the exact specifications of that special person who have also broken my heart in between. And then sometimes there are people in between that are great, and I just don't know why I don't feel excited about them.
Right.
So, and I've had a couple of moments in my life where if I'm trying to tell myself a story, I'm exactly where God wants me to be. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I also don't understand how I can be where God wants me to be while simultaneously feeling like there's more waiting for me. And that's where I'm at. Mm-hmm. And that's why I enjoy talking to people like you. I mean, what I loved about the spin class was, and you didn't just do this with me, but you did this with a couple of people. Let me coach you. Mm-hmm. I just loved how you owned it. I also loved how you yelled at the person who looked at a cell phone, and the person cried. It wasn't sweat. It was tears running down that person. It's like, no, but I enjoy your intensity and probably need some of that in my life to get to certain goals. I'm kind of rambling now.
Or do you want all of it? Because I'll give you everything. I can give you some now. Do you want me to help you resolve some of this?
Why not? Let's, you know, let's go, let's swing for the fences and see what happens.
All right. So on my watch, I would resolve all of that stuff. One of the first things that we do is I would hand you an imaginary magic wand and I would say, what is it that you want in your career? All right. So what is it that you want in your career? And put aside the former relationship and putting aside any other former relationships. What is it you want today? Like, what is it you want now? And I'm going to pause to say, most people who come to me, they do know. I believe you know.
I do and I don't. Or you know what's funny? I used to know what I wanted, and there is the real thing of what's attainable. And
we don't do that though. Never mind. No, never mind.
Because I'll tell you what I went through. Listen, I spent 10 years at The View thinking my big break, whatever that meant, was just one more TV appearance away. Then I went over to Good Morning America. I started doing TV news pieces at night. And I felt like all of that was just one more drip in the bucket away.
Right.
And then somebody took the bucket and just dumped it on my damn head. And that's okay. I think there are other ways to, like, listen, if I could wave the magic wand, I've said this I'm waving the wand. I have a show that entertains a large group of people and brings in, that makes people happy while also making them a little bit better of a human being.
Yes, you do.
Waving the wand again, I have my beautiful, tall, genius, athletic girlfriend who excites me. Excites me. Waving the wand, I keep the things I've had where I keep healthy parents and nieces and nephews who love me going into the life. I'm waving the wand. I'm not opposed to parenthood, but it's not, I don't hear the calling. And waving the wand, I want financial security. And I feel like you need in New York City 300 to 500 grand a year for that. I mean, I really do believe that, and I've said this out loud before, anyone making less than 200 grand a year in New York is the working poor. And waving the wand, since I'm being crazy, a nicer apartment with more sunlight that I own, that adds to my fiscal security thing. And maybe a little beach house on the ocean, just like the ones I've been renting for the last 2 summers that my listeners have been listening to.
Okay, excellent. I wrote down that you want to have this amazing show that makes people happy. So I have to write very quickly. So I'll leave it at that. I wrote down this athletic genius partner, girlfriend who makes you happy.
Right.
And healthy parents and family. I'm going to stop there because we can't control other situations. But there's a lot, you like looking at these 7 things, there's a lot that you can control. You can't control the health of your parents and the health of your, your other family members. That's something.
I waved a wand, damn it. You told me to wave a wand.
Okay. That's it. But look how much you can control. Parenthood, you either want it or you don't. Right? Yeah,
I'm not going crazy for it right now.
So I'm crossing that one out.
Well, here's the thing is, I have found, without talking about anybody I know's personal lives,
right?
I have found friends who have wanted families and really didn't care who the hell put the baby in them. I'm not at that point. But if I met the right person, I could see myself enjoy. I've never wanted to be a dad because I've never met someone who I wanted to mother my children.
Got it. Okay, so we're going to put that one on a shelf and the other
shelf. I like that on a shelf.
So you also would be looking at financial security and stability. And that includes, this is really kind of one thing that includes the next 2, which are that nicer apartment that you own and a beach house that you also own. So this is about abundance. This is about financial security and stability. And then the first part, so I'm going to put that all in one box. And then the first part is about the show. So this show.
Like, listen, we all want to be Johnny Carson 1970. Nobody's getting that again.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe I should just shut up and enjoy the fact that I got the spin teacher pushing a podcast at her class. Mm-hmm. And maybe this is it. And I should just shut up and be happy.
So I wouldn't be okay with that. I would want you to divorce yourself of like these other concepts like Johnny Carson or these other concepts and be fully you. So let's go back to some of the other things that I do. All right. So what I would do with you is I would say, Tom, go, and I'm going to do it now. I would say, go get a picture of yourself from before you're age 7 and think about that kid. This is what I do with this. I actually do this with everyone and think about, so that probably made you think of one or several images of that face and the things that you valued when you were under the age of 7. And what I do is I help you get into alignment with that. So if that kid wants a show, and wants a partner and wants and deserves, frankly, love and financial stability, I know that you deserve that. I know that you deserve that. And if you look at that photo of that kid, not to get so deep or anything, but this is what I do. That kid deserves all of this stuff. And I've been listening for a lot of this. And I have my people practice something called JADE, which means you don't justify, argue, defend, or explain. If I'm working for you, I'm working for you. You call me around the clock and you don't have to explain anything to me. All you need to tell me is what you actually want and we will get it. But this isn't some manifesting, like I love these people like Gabby Bernstein is a great one for manifesting, a lot of these other teachers, but that's not what I do. My own coach, and I believe this as well, taught me you have to do the footwork. Incremental change is everything. So I would ask you what you're doing today to augment your show, to deepen your connections with your audience. Where are you meeting a potential partner? Who's athletic, who's a genius, who's happy? And you don't need somebody else to make you happy. You're happy already. So you can fill your own cup, go back to your values that are just about Tom and align yourself with that. And then when you walk into the room and that other person's there, then they're ready to receive you. You don't need anything outside of yourself, especially once you work with me, because I'm not going to stand for it. It's ridiculous, So I hope that makes some sense to you. And what I have people do is every single day, and they will write down in a notebook, they'll write down in a notebook, just like old school, how they feel, what they're grateful for, what they're doing to take care of themselves. Like what I was just talking with you about, like, what are you doing today? And then what they have to do, like you have to have your equipment for the show. You have to pay a bill. You have to whatever, right? And they do that every day to take ownership of their stuff. So you're not bleeding out onto other people. You're not making other people responsible for your peace and your happiness. It's already in you. And yeah, you better believe that if you were working with me, that we'd get an apartment. I'd look at your finances with you and make sure that you're not just okay, but making a lot.
And I think a lot of New Yorkers and Americans are going through this right now.
Yeah.
I don't know where I want to be geographically. That's the big stumbling block too right now. I mean, I got money in the bank. I could buy something right now.
Mm-hmm.
I may not be making as much as I was, which is a killer. And there is that fantasy of the old Italian fantasy of I'd love to be able to buy the house cash. Like it sounds stupid, but I really don't, especially with the way a creative business goes. I don't want a mortgage and high taxes necessarily hanging over me. That goes back to the solvency thing. But I really can't decide if I want to be in New York or Long Island or a suburb in a third spot.
Well, you can have all of them if that's what you really want, which is what you told me. You said you want to own an apartment and you want the beach house. And those two things sounds like So we would work toward those, and we work toward those incrementally, because I know that you can have it. People I've worked for have done that. I had somebody who I was working with who didn't know she wanted to be in Connecticut in sort of like a beach house, sort of like what you're talking about, or in Manhattan. And she got both. She got both, and she goes back and forth. She loves it. But she had to decide that. She had to sit with me for a little while and just decide that. But I'm only going to sit and listen to the indecision for, another few moments. We just have to decide, and that's a lot of life. I really believe, like you mentioned God before, and I love that you said that, God will meet you where you need to be, but God wants you to do footwork. I know that from my own life. God wants you to put in work. And also I believe that God, and some people say the universe, spirit, whatever, wants to be in the equation. It's in the equation already, your source, your creator, whatever, but wants to be asked, right? It's like God's already at the party, but God wants you to come and say, hey, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm going to surrender to this. I want to own an apartment. I love the beach. You were probably like that when you were little. So you're just getting back to that. But surrendering to that, that's this like power greater than you, that all of my clients do that. Because a lot of them are just, life will cut the legs out from under you. And it happened to me, and it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal, but you have a choice. You can sort of, it's the delineation between being willing and using your willpower.
If we were putting a button on what you just said there, what would you say to put a button on everything?
What I would say is life is going to happen to you whether you do something about it or not. So you might as well be proactive and take full responsibility for every single part of your life. Otherwise, it's just going to happen to you.
All right. Listen, folks, I'm going to keep the end of the show gimmicks to a minimum. Good night, New York.